I think it would be appropriate to say that the Indigenous Knowledge Centre project, the program, and the concept, it's a groundbreaking initiative that can be duplicated in other countries and can partner with other countries in sharing experiences with Indigenous learning anywhere in the world. It certainly has a lot of synergies with what we are doing in Papua New Guinea at present. We have learnt an enormous amount in the last week of workshopping. I've got very excited officers going back, wanting to try to implement from this, to help us in our efforts to reach people who perhaps do not fit too well in the formal systems of learning, or actually don't have access at home, the situation is, and to ensure that they have access to knowledge, access to learning, and enjoy their human rights. Any nation that has a minority Indigenous group must put a lot of effort and funding into ensuring that that minority Indigenous group does not become marginalized from education opportunities. And this means using all sorts of strategies for education. The learning processes now are not about just the formal processes, and this is why we've been excited to be here to share knowledge and to take materials back that we know can be used almost directly, I would say, in our community learning and development centres in Papua New Guinea. We don't really have to do much at all to make them suitable because they have been designed specifically for Indigenous peoples. I'm grateful for Queensland State Library and all they have done to help us and include us in what their learning experiences with the Indigenous Knowledge Centre. I'm very privileged that I went to the opening of the Kuban Village Indigenous Knowledge Centre on Moa Island in Torres Straits. I went there earlier this year. I know the whole team here from Papua New Guinea have felt privileged to go and look at an Indigenous museum in this last week.
Set something up like this in our village.
With the relationship between Papua New Guinea and Australia, I think much can be gained from this. And I've had informal discussions with our High Commissioner the Australian High Commissioner in Papua New Guinea. I've involved people from our embassies down here in Australia too, to be aware of the relationship that until now has been fairly informal with Queensland State Library. We are now looking at doing a formal memorandum of understanding, and I am hoping that we can get this into our bilateral budgetary donor budgetary framework. It can tackle many of the issues that we are facing in Papua New Guinea. We are facing increasing poverty, we're facing increasing law and order problems, and sometimes we are trying to tackle these problems directly in top-down approaches that in the end are not sustainable. To truly grow sustainable programs that will truly transform communities and help them to take the best of both worlds. I don't mean we want to change to be like a Western society, but help transform communities so they can take the best of both worlds. We need to work from the bottom up, and that is what is happening with Indigenous Knowledge Centres, and that is what is happening in the new policy framework in Papua New Guinea, integrated community development. So yes, I would like to see something formal between Papua New Guinea and Australia with this, and I hope that we can all realise that we learn from each other with this as well. I'm sure our experiences will also be helpful here.